Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is where you're joining us from today. My name is Jen Espinoza-Goswami. I'm the Communications Co-Chair for the ICF branch here in Minnesota. And I am so excited to share with you Meet the Coach. And today we have two for the price of one. So today I'd love to introduce to you Ann Hauser and Nirav Sheth, who will tell us more about their flavor of coaching. Before we jump into the introduction of these fine people today, I want to let you know that Meet the Coach is a monthly feature that goes out to all ICF Minnesota chapter members. If you're not a member, no problem. You can still join one of our current events. We do hold monthly events. And you have the opportunity as a coach to share about the kind of coaching you offer and who you serve. So if you're interested in participating in a Meet the Coach feature, please reach out to me directly and you'll see my contact information in the show notes below this video. So welcome, Ann and Nirav.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So I shared a little bit about you two. We're going to jump right into the questions for today's Meet the Coach. Are you all set to go?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So the first question is, you two are unique because you've worked together in the past. And now you have a new program. Can you tell us a little bit more about what brought you two to coach together?
Go ahead, Ann.
Nirav and I had the, maybe I'll just provide some background, Nirav, on how we worked together in the past, and then I'll let you take it forward from there if you don't mind. So Nirav and I had the great opportunity to work together at Medtronic, and we both worked in the same business unit for a period of time. And I remember when Nirav was working on PAH, which is a really important treatment for patients, and just how interested he was in helping people who had this condition. And what I admired his enthusiasm about trying to help these people who they were in a pretty difficult situation from a health standpoint. Nirav also was teaching some meditation classes. And so I attended those and really loved meditation. I found it very calming and very grounding, and got to know more about Nirav as a person and just how giving and caring he was as a human being. I also then got started on being trained as a coach while at Medtronic. They were offering coach training. And part of that was we needed to be coaching while we were in training. And I knew Nirav fairly well, but not super well, and asked him if he'd be my first coachee in my class. And so he's the first person I coached ever. And it was really, really fun. And we've really kind of stayed in contact since that time, since I went off and focused more on coaching myself, and since Nirav went off and did some other things before our work together today. So Nirav, can I let you take it from there?
Okay. Thank you, Ann, and thank you for those kind words. And so Ann is somebody I admire, very special person in my life, my mentor, friend, colleague in every way. And so, I'm always looking for an opportunity to work with her. And so what was happening was I kicked off my life coaching practice about a year and a half ago. I got certified as a life coach, which was purely because of my passion. I've always dreamed of being a life coach. And I'm like, I've started my own business. Let me just go and get my certification. And then my first offering was essentially life purpose planning, helping people define their life purpose and mission and goals in life, and helping them execute those goals or any other goals as a life coach. And that's when, as Ann mentioned, she introduced me to the positive intelligence program as a pilot. And it was life transforming for me. Okay, as Ann mentioned, I do meditation, I teach meditation, but despite that, this program was another wonderful tool for me in my own personal growth as a kind of collaborative tool with meditation as well. And both of them have different purposes during different times of the day, different situations. And so since I started my life coaching practice, I was able to actually get certified and trained as a positive intelligence coach, which was another dream for me. When I took the program, I loved it so much. I'm like, I'd like to offer that as part of my practice. And just because I started my life coaching practice, I could do that. And so then I became trained as a positive intelligence coach, also known as a mental fitness coach. So I've been doing that for the last year now, just really enjoying the experiences of helping people be more fulfilled, more happier. And then as part of that, another big passion of mine has been leadership. And for many, many years, I worked with Ann as well and as a leader, but also as a special kind of passionate about servant leadership. That is my specific leadership style I strive to be. And I also strive to help and teach people on that model of leadership. And so bringing leadership and coaching together was my next natural step. And I started coaching executives and leaders and CEOs over the last 3-4 months. So that's when Ann and I started talking about, hey, she's been doing executive coaching for a while, and she's really good at that. I'm just starting to do leadership coaching now, and it's a passion of mine. We both bring different backgrounds and skills together. So let's just join forces. And of course, as I mentioned, any excuse for me to partner with and work with Ann, I'm going to go forward with, just to learn from her. I always learn from her all the time. So that's how the SAGE leadership program got started. We essentially kicked that off last month. And it's really about helping people become more authentic, more collaborative, more positive thinkers, and combining the mental fitness program with leadership coaching and allowing people to be just the best leader they can ever be. So Ann, anything else to add there?
No, I think there's a pattern though, Nirav, that I always think of some of these firsts for me always involve you. So the first time I coached someone, the first time that I had a pilot program for mental fitness and positive intelligence, you were in that pilot, and then now with the SAGE leadership. So I think it's the desire to be able to collaborate and co-create together is something I really get a lot of joy out of. Maybe I'll just expand a little further on some of the discussions Nirav and I had for creating SAGE leadership. As he mentioned, I do a lot of executive coaching. And one of the things that I found was it was really interesting to apply the principles of positive intelligence to leadership. So as people think about how they're showing up as leaders, as people think about how their colleagues are showing up, how can they have a more positive frame of mind? How can they increase their mental fitness so they've got more self-command? So when a life event happens that might be unsettling or might be difficult, how can they show up in a positive way and look for the gift and opportunity in that? And so I had a group of people that I tried this on and just said, okay, you're my executive coaching clients. Would you be willing to try this mental fitness and let's apply a leadership lens? And they really had a wonderful experience. It far exceeded my expectations. We still meet every month for fun. And their positive frame of mind, their level of happiness, personally and professionally, is higher. And they're the ones who really want to keep this content live in their lives because they've seen the difference. I think especially maybe during the pandemic when people were more isolated, things were difficult, a lot more challenges, unexpected, constraints that we couldn't have anticipated. I think some of the tenets of positive intelligence about thinking about what's important, thinking about how you want to show up, thinking about how you can better others' lives. I think all of those help people lead more effectively and help them better self-manage as a result. And so Nirav and I meet weekly just for kicks. And so this discussion came up about some of the benefits of this work and how we might be able to extend it to others through coaching and the mental fitness program.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's so fascinating how you two have progressed in your relationship over the course of the years that you've been knowing each other, from your work at Medtronic in a corporate employee type environment to creating your own businesses through discovering new coaching tools and methodology to help support the clients that you work with. I neglected to properly introduce each of you, so I'd love to say that Nirav Sheth is the creator of Stratosphere LLC and a certified life and leadership coach. That is his own individual coaching practice. So I'll include the links to his website in the show notes below this video. And I neglected to introduce Ann Hauser, who has Ann Hauser Consulting and is an executive coach who helps, I believe, companies, is that correct? Companies and small companies with their executive teams. And is that right, Ann?
Mm-hmm. Teams and individuals. Mm-hmm.
Teams and individuals. Plus, talking about leadership, these two serve on the leadership for ICF Minnesota as well. Nirav is working in the strategic marketing position, and Ann is our president. So They definitely have a lot to share in terms of leadership, and we welcome you to share more about your coaching practice. Now, they mentioned how they work together under SAGE Leadership Development, which is inspired by positive intelligence or mental fitness, as you've been sharing. And the short description of that is it's designed for new and experienced senior leaders to enhance personal and professional leadership, increase team engagement, collaboration, and performance. So what's not to love about all of those things? And it's lovely how you two have partnered together, not just serving on a board together, but also working together within your practices. Is there something else you'd like to share in terms of what tools, resources, podcasts, or books that you frequently reference when you're working with your clients? Ann?
Yeah, there are a couple books that I really like a lot. One is Quiet Leadership by David Rock, where essentially the leader is acting as a coach in terms of asking reflective questions of employees and helping employees maybe debrief and think through themselves about the work they're doing so the employees are building greater competency. I really like his approach and think it's really healthy and good for organizations and employees.
How about you, Nirav?
Yeah, for me, apart from the servant leadership books, which are kind of the, Robert Greenleaf was the pioneer of servant leadership. So his books have been very influential for me. But in terms of coaching, Positive Intelligence itself is a New York Times bestseller book, which was launched about 4 to 5 years ago. So that's obviously one solid reference I use. And then I actually use a lot of online training and resources to continuously look for new tools and learnings for me, because apart from my life coaching certification tools, there's always new things to learn. And every time I do a search online and find a new tool, it's just adds to my library of tools. So I think I'm just constantly thirsty for new tools and looking for them all the time. But right now it's really the life purpose planning, which is something I put together myself, is something I use for helping people define their life purpose, combining the strategic planning kind of framework we use for businesses with life experiences, and then putting those together into a life purpose and life mission and life goal structure was something I created and I use for my practice as well.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm very familiar with servant leadership, having graduated with a master's degree in leadership from Augsburg University. So yeah, I'm very familiar with those terms. And I love that that's a philosophy that you take to heart and you share within your practice as well. One of the things I would love to address, because both of you serve on the ICF Minnesota board and you have been members of ICF Minnesota. So how has ICF Minnesota helped you, whether personally or professionally, within your coaching practice?
Okay, go ahead.
I guess I'll start. I didn't really have a community before I joined ICF Minnesota. I didn't know that many coaches. I kind of stepped out and thought, oh, I heard there was an opportunity on the board and joined. And it's been lovely for me to be able to meet a variety of coaches and to have, so I meet with a group of coaches, many of them from ICF Minnesota. Each week, we kind of help each other in terms of our coaching practice, working through challenges, things like that. So kind of, I guess, peer coaching or peer mentoring there, but really appreciate them professionally and personally. And so just building out a network of resources. And I just find people so collaborative and willing to help one another, which is really lovely. Like if you have a question, there's something kind of esoteric, there's a great group in the community where you can ask questions and things like that. So really the opportunity for community and building a network has been tremendous.
Yeah, and I can add on to that as well. Sorry, Jen, were you asking something?
No, I was going to say, what would you add to that?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, apart from having a resource and a community and a sharing of knowledge, learning experiences, that's obviously one huge benefit from ICF. The second thing is, together having much greater impact. And that's really the focus of ICF. In fact, also adding in my strategic marketing role, helping lead the strategic planning effort over the last year, where we really changed kind of the mission and vision of the organization going forward, which I think will have greater impact in the community from a coaching standpoint. So having more of a credentialing hat on versus more of a caring and nurturing hat on, which is our new hat. That's the goal. So I think the shift from kind of an ICF focus, more to coaching in general and helping coaching communities come together regardless of whether they are credentialed or not. That's one big change. Making sure it's also diverse in its applications, not serving any particular community, but all communities. That's another change. So with all these changes and strategies, we're looking forward to the greater impact we can have in the organization and in the community as well with coaches out there.
I love that you shared that, Nirav and Ann, and it's clear that what you bring to the leadership of ICF Minnesota is community, networking, collaboration, community. But I think it was also important, Nirav, that you mentioned that you don't have to be a certified coach to participate in ICF Minnesota, which I don't think is commonly known. So thank you for pointing that out. I have a final question for you too, and this is the one that's kind of the most fun for me. Hopefully it is for you as well. What are 3 things you would like to share about yourself that we may not know about you, either from your website or what you share publicly?
And always after you, Ann.
Okay, all right. So first, my husband and I have 6 children. Second, I owned a cotton farm in Texas for about 35 years. And I was in Fortune or Forbes magazine. A picture sorry, I'm not being very articulate. Anyway, there was a picture there one day and someone ran down the hall and said, "Ann, you're in Fortune or Forbes," and there it was. So anyway, that's a fun fact.
I have to grab that photo from you, Ann. Go ahead, Nirav.
Yes, so I guess, so one thing I'll share is I recently launched a music track called Maiden Voyage. It's a globally released, this is just a hobby and a passion of mine on this kind of music called uplifting trance music or orchestral music. So that's one thing people may not know about me is I released a track last year, and something else is coming next week, which I'm very, very excited about. It's actually a track called True Love, which I wrote for my wife. And it's now going to be released out there as a track. So that's going to be really exciting. Second thing, as Ann mentioned, I do teach meditation and practice meditation, and I'm part of this spiritual organization called Science of Spirituality. And I'm also helping with the Leadership Institute over there as part of course development and facilitation of courses like conflict management and stuff like that. That's another kind of role I play as a volunteer and for service. And then third thing, I have 2 children. My daughter's in London right now. She's a study abroad program. So I hope to see her sometime in the next month. And my son is a 10th grade soccer player, Premier Soccer League. So we travel around the country for his soccer, and I really enjoy watching his soccer games. So those are my 3 things.
I love it. I love it. Soccer dad alert over here, right? And when you say you created the music, did you create the music? Did you mix the tracks together? What does that mean, you created it?
Oh, great question. So actually I had, Jen, the whole story behind this, which is the most amazing thing we can ever share as a coach, how the whole thing happened, but I won't get into that. But the bottom line is I actually have a piano here, which my daughter used to play. And so I came up with some melodies in my head and started playing them on the piano. And then I have this friend who's a very well-known artist who has the mixing technology. And so my melodies and my ideas about the song, together with this amazing artist's ideas, we combined them together and made that first song. And that's why it's aptly named Maiden Voyage. So it's both, every aspect of it is produced and composed together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for showing up today and sharing more about the work you do here in the coaching community, both within Minnesota, and I'm sure you serve clients all over the world, given just the type of work that you do. So I appreciate you both being here. If you're watching this video, please make sure that you give us a like and subscribe to this channel, because we will be producing monthly videos featuring other coaches within our community. If you would like to be considered for a upcoming feature, reach out to me directly. And again, my contact information will be down in the description of today's video. And Nirav, thank you so much for sharing more about Sage Leadership Development Program, the individual coaching you do, and especially those 3 things, because I think we're going to be talking about that for a few days to come. Is there anything you would like to leave us with, either as a team or individually?
May the sage be with you.
Yeah, and please come and join us if you haven't already. We'd love to have you join ICF Minnesota and be part of this amazing community. So thank you.
Well said, Nirav. All right, we'll see you next month on Meet the Coach. Take care.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jen.
so much.